The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. And by Kawasaki, the Kawasaki KX, the bike that builds champions.
Hi, back here at Lakewood, Colorado. Take another ride with the Kawasaki track map.
Yeah, a little POV version right here. Go up the hill, make this right. Hopefully get a good start off this drop-off to the lower part of the track. We saw some passes here. You can go inside, outside, and it's all about carrying the speed up this long hill. Step up, scrub this jump, back on the rear, power up at the top, launch back down the hill into this section where the brave of the brave make up time, leave your braking late. That bike will be dancing all over the place. Turn, step up, another relatively large fly step up. The section has changed. They eliminated this little horseshoe that we're at right now. So they come straight down the hill. Now we're going to have a look at this GoPro track preview.
Yeah.
This is on the backside of the track where we just took. So this is on board with Cole Seeley from practice earlier. Right over the step up, and then right, this section's beautiful. Big triple step up. And the fans are out in their tens of thousands. This section has got long sweeping ruts through here down the hill. Beautiful.
Cole Seeley taking you for a ride. It's our GoPro track preview of meeting some riders from practice, by the way, earlier today. Place is really packed with fans now, and track is even deeper and rougher than what it was before. Should lead to some great racing. Stay with us. Back here on MAV TV, ready for our first 450 moto of the day. Let's send it to Georgia Lindsay at the GoPro starting gate.
Now the 32 of Matt Bisceglia is currently on the Yoshimura Suzuki bike. James Stewart will not be racing this weekend, nor his teammate Blake Baggett. So Mr. Matt Bisceglia, you have jumped on this bike. You've done 3 lots of testing this week. How is it moving from the 250 class and then jumping on the Yoshimura factory Suzuki bike?
It's been as easy as it could be. Everything's been going really smooth. We got a couple days of testing, so yeah, you know, practice went pretty decent for me, and I'm just looking forward to this gate drop. It's something new and exciting for me, so I'm really excited.
Best of luck. Thanks, Matt.
We're about ready to go racing. We'll see how Matt Bisceglia does on his new ride. We'll see who can challenge guys like Roxon and Dungey after this. Well, the weekend off, and then we're back live here on MAV TV for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. It'll be High Point from Pennsylvania. See the first motos live on MAV TV Saturday, June 18th at 1 Eastern. Let's go back to Georgia Lindsay with our Motion Pro What's in Your Toolbox.
And with Ken Roxon's mechanic, Oscar Wiedemann. Now, what is the coolest, most trickiest tool you have in your toolbox?
It could be this little titanium spanner.
Okay.
It's an 8mm. I just keep it in my pocket all day long. If you have to like move a clutch lever or something on the line, then you always have it with you. Easy to get up and just take a few seconds. And
Let me feel that.
yeah, it's super light.
That is light. So that goes to the start line and everywhere with you.
Yeah, have it in the pocket all day long.
Awesome. Thanks, Oscar.
All right. Grant Langston actually has one of those in the booth here. Are you going to repair something right now? He liked it that much.
I just like the 8mm and the number 8, and I hijacked it.
Oh, okay. Hey, let's get to our KTM keys. Sorry, Lit Pro is going to show you. We have Ryan Dungey's bike. I thought it was KTM. It is. But we're going to show you how fast that bike goes thanks to the folks at Lit Pro.
Well, this is on the downhill that took out Stewart a few years ago and Tomac last year. Look, 57 miles an hour. They drop off 14 feet from that step up and slow down, and I say slow down to 25 miles an hour. Some guys are slower than that, but that just shows you, as it gets rougher, how amazing is it? Almost 60 miles an hour down that hill, bikes dancing everywhere. Cool stuff we're getting here from Lit Pro. I like this.
I had no idea they were going that fast. Now you know how come Tomac was hurt that bad. Now we get our KTM.
All right.
Keys of the Moto.
Is it Tomac's time to shine? He was the fastest man in qualifying earlier. He looks good. This is home state. I think this is his opportunity to get out there and then control your breathing. We are at altitude. We bring this up a lot, but if you start hyperventilating early, no matter how fit you are, it will ruin the rest of your race. And those long ruts, we have seen those ruts not only just hold people up or take things down, but end their season.
Hey, let's give shout out to Jesse Wentland, another Minnesota rider. There are a ton of them up front these days. He collects our FMF Privateer Power Award on the Rick Schugel Racing Honda. Good to see him back after some injuries at Supercross, riding well. We're ready. Fly Racing 30-second card is up and sideways. We're ready to go. 450 Moto 1 from Colorado. Roczen and Anderson lead them into turn 1. Roxon's going to hold it coming out. He's got the whole shot. That's bad news for everyone else. He is your series points leader. Anderson just ahead of Dungey, who's on the 1. In third, and Justin Brayton trying to make a move on Dungey early.
So a lot of our top guys near the front, but where is Eli Tomac? He's the guy that we said this could be his day. He's not near the front, but Ken Roczen doing what he's done for the first 2 rounds this year. Maybe not quite the whole shot, but he has just been out in front a lot this season.
Well, he's so fast on the opening lap of these motos. Dungey trying to make quick work of Anderson. No, couldn't make it stick. Anderson holding him off.
Yeah, Anderson not once get intimidated. He likes mixing it up with these front guys, and he will go for it. Good start for him. Heard him say earlier, yeah, we're a little down on horsepower, but where it helps is someone like Anderson. He uses those long legs to get really off the back of the bike and manipulate this bike to get around these deep ruts in certain sections. So curious to see, you got someone like Dungey, different riding style, different body position, but yet, you know, on track, they're literally covered at times by hundredths of a second, if that.
Fans coming to life. This is a section where there's a huge crowd. They see Roczen come through. That's Phil Nicoletti, who slid up to the number 4 spot. So good job by Filthy Phil making passes on Brayton.
And I'm looking at timing and scoring. Eli Tomac, 21st position.
Jeez.
He's making life very difficult on himself. But we've seen Eli be able to charge, you know, a little bit like Alex Martin at first moto when he gets, you know, when he's, I always say, a happy rider is a fast rider, but an angry rider is really entertaining to watch because that's just a whole nother level.
Dungey still duking it out with Anderson for second. As Roczen gets away past the Fran Mechanics area, and now the pressure being applied to Nicoletti by the 41 of Trey Kennard. And Kennard just threaded the needle.
I don't know if he threaded the needle. I think he just moved the thread aside. I mean, that needle was coming through. Wow. Yeah, I think Phil had to just roll off a little bit to keep his front end underneath him.
All right, so Kennard is 4th as Roczen leads him on lap 1. He already has a 3.5-second lead. That's how quick he moves on these opening laps. And now Justin Barsha getting into the picture as well. He is the teammate of Nicoletti. They're both on Auto Trader Monster Yamahas. Factory Honda ride for Kennard. Your leader is Roczen on the Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki.
Yeah,
Privateer Award winner Wentland. Watch him in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, at the back here on the Honda 63 around the outside. These lines just come together, and unfortunately, the guy we just highlighted for doing so well, but he has an opportunity to possibly the Hard Charger Award this week if he has to come from the back. Oh.
Here's Eli.
We got an ET sighting.
Yeah, but it's not where he wants to be. Cole Seeley is in 16th place, and Tomac is behind him. Seeley doesn't want to be that far back, and I can tell you that Tomac doesn't.
No, this is, it's got to be frustrating for someone like Tomac. He's kind of felt like he's putting things together. He had the pace this morning. You got that feeling like he truly believed he could come out and win. It's going to be very difficult from this position. Yellow flags waving, riders down. When you have a terrible start, I know it sounds bad. There's nothing better than seeing yellow flags waving on the opening laps because it's easy positions.
Free pass. So Nicoletti, who was so strong early in the moto, running 4th, has crashed now. Put Tomac, I would think, in that case into 15th as he and Seeley go to work on. That's Pachelia, actually, the new man on the Yoshimura Suzuki right in front of him. And as Suzuki leads this thing with Roczen, it's a Soaring Eagle Jimmy John's machine. Just ahead of this group, that's 2nd place, Anderson. Anderson has been close, trying to knock on the door, trying to bust up that Roczen and Dungey, who have basically been 1-2 in all the motos. Got a great opportunity to do it right now.
Yeah, running great. Jason Anderson, always fun to watch. Very charismatic on the bike, you know, all over the place. Very cool, calm, and collected off the track. He's very monotone and chill, but it's funny. I think he gets all his energy out on the bike. But while we're talking about these two, Roczen is just ditching them. He is running 2:11s, over 2 seconds a lap quicker than anybody on track right now. There he goes in the background.
Wow.
So Roczen 2 laps into this race just checking out.
Yeah, this is the time differential. Dungey 2.2 seconds slower than Roczen. That's crazy. And he's got his hands full with Anderson. Now, we've told the story a million times. These two ride and train together. They ride every day at the Baker's factory. That's their trainer, Alden Baker. So they're certainly familiar, dueling with each other. Wow, Dungey said, I got to go.
Did you see that, though? Anderson must have hooked something because he didn't get any lift, and he kind of endoed off that step down. And I don't know what happened there, if he hit that unexpected pothole or something, because we did hear the 250 riders saying, man, there's some random square edge bumps, whether it's at the exit or the entrance. In fact, after this, as you call it, end zone,
yes.
this area right there has ended a few seasons for guys. But look through here, when the guys go to that inside line, which, watch Dungey, see that? I mean, the bike's literally scraping the skid plate coming out the corner. I mean, that's pretty gnarly.
Kind of puzzled how Anderson, who was holding up well under fire, got past so quickly and now is being dropped so quickly. Not sure if there's a problem there, but man, that sure changed in a hurry. Now Dungey's all by himself.
Yeah, a little clear track. You know, it's very easy to make a mistake or two, which could have happened with Anderson real quick. Which
Better be careful.
Well, look at this.
Yeah, Josh Grant of the Monster Kawasaki making moves now. Nicoletti was in this spot and went down, but Grant has gotten around Justin Barcia and closing in on Kennard. That would be for fourth.
Barcia, another one that, you know, just waiting for him to break through. You know, last year we saw him get into his groove in the second half of the season, beat Dungey straight up for the win a few times. But this year, again, just not sure if he's still trying to get back in the groove, figure out the bike, what's going on. But for Barcia, I know a little subpar for him, as we know and we expect from the number 51. But we're still early in the season.
Yeah, long way to go, but yeah, Barcia, he knows what his job is. He wants to go after race wins. Here he is right now in sixth, behind Grant. Grant, Mr. Consistency. We were talking to him last week after the race. The guy went 8-8 and 6-6 in the first 4 motos this year, and now 5th. Solid.
And even like I said to him, I said, your problem's been you've been good, but you miss half the races, so just be there, because if you can be there, the results will come. Josh got a ton of talent. Oh, there's Brayton. I thought for a second we might have had a Colorado native sighting of Andrew Short.
Nah, it's Brayton who had that good start. Short a little bit further back in 11th. He's at the end of this group. You've got Bogle, Purcell, Tickle, then Short. And you'll see Short here in probably just a moment coming down the hill. Let's focus in on Bogle, who had a household incident last week. He gamely rode the first moto, but could not line up for Moto 2 on the Geico Honda.
He took up an extreme sport of avocado cutting, and it sliced his hand.
Yes, he cut himself. Couldn't hang on, so he didn't ride this week. Got a lot better, and should be okay today. There's Bogle, first full season on a 450 for him.
We must add, he did say he was very embarrassed about the situation. And we said it before, motocross riders are not allowed to get hurt on their own time. You get hurt enough on the bike, you know, so yeah, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
It's the exact opposite of mortals like myself. I'm not allowed to get hurt on the dirt bike because that messes up my job. They're not allowed to get hurt doing anything else because it'll mess them up on the dirt bike.
What were you doing cooking, bro?
Yeah, those things are dangerous, those avocados. Okay, so he's got Brayton right in front of him. This is the closest battle on the track actually right now, as Roxon has 7.5 seconds on Dungey, who has 6 seconds on Anderson. That's 1, 2, 3. Bogle really hustling here, trying to get Brayton.
Yeah, this is confusing. Roxon's doing what Tomac did last year.
Yeah.
And Roxon's on the same bike, same team. You know, we can say, okay, Tomac switched, but let's be honest, we've seen what the Kawasaki can do with multiple riders, most notably Ryan Villapolo in recent years. So it's just interesting. It's a lot of it, I think, for guys just finding their groove, getting acclimatized with everyone around them, and figuring out what they really want out of their machine.
Tomac might be into this battle before long. He has climbed up to 11th behind Seeley, who's 10th. Gotten around Short, gotten around Bisceglia. Tickle, I believe, has actually gone down altogether. He's now back to 18th. So at the tail end of this group, you're probably going to start seeing the green fender of Tomac. But here's the problem. He's 32 seconds behind our leader in that 11th place position. Ken Roxon is flying. Back here watching Lucas Oil Pro Motocross on MAV TV. Go to promotocross.com and you can watch the motos live there if you can't get near your TV set. And there's plenty of other information on that site. Or you can also download the NBC Sports Live Extra app. You can watch the motos live on there as well. So no excuses, even if you're out riding on a Saturday afternoon. Just take a little pit stop, watch our motos, and go back out and do it. Josh Grant on the green machine trying to run down Trey Kennard, and then a thick pack behind him. Barsha, Brayton, Bogle, Porcel, Seeley, and then finally Eli Tomac, the Colorado native. His track owes him one after taking it all away from him last year. He was lightning fast in practice today, but not able to get the start that he needed in this moto. Georgia, what do you got on the number 3?
Yes, I spoke to him just after he qualified first this morning, and I said, you know, how is it coming back to a track that really did, you know, end your career last year just for the season? And he said, you know what, I feel redemption. Obviously, it's in the back of my mind when I look at that one section, but I do feel redemption. And after last weekend, I think he really showed his speed. I think his start definitely didn't help this, but like you guys said, midway through the moto, we could see that Tomac speed come back.
Well, I talked to the Kawasaki guys today as we see Seeley trying to work on Porcel. That's 9th and 10th. Wow,
That was pretty close going off that drop off.
The Kawasaki guys said, you know, the second moto for Tomac was much better last week, so they haven't changed the bike a ton because they feel like they're close to where they want to be as Seeley finally completes that pass on Porcel. So Seeley now 9th. Porcel still struggling with a bit of pain in the, well, literally a pain in the neck. He had a crash back in Supercross a couple of months ago, but I mean, it's a neck injury. That's always a little bit scary. And now going to yield to Tomac. So Tomac up to 10.
Yeah, I mean, neck injury or not, there's not a lot of fight there from Porcel, which is something we'd love to see more of. But Eli Tomac, plenty of fight. He's going to fight for every point he can get. And yeah, his pace is good, but when, like you said, Jason, at this point, let's have a look.
Oh, Marvin Muscan into the Fram Mechanics area. That's a disappointment for the Red Bull KTM rider.
That's the mechanic, Frankie, and Jay Dungy, one of the coordinators of the team.
So we hear that he crashed near the starting line area, and it looks like he was going back to the pits now. It's a tough break. Seeley has caught fire. Got around Porcel, has shaken Tomac for a moment, and now trying to get around Brayton. These two are good buddies, actually, Brayton and Seeley, and they actually find each other on the track quite a bit. Seeley trying to make a move. You see Brayton get that leg out of the way. Seeley was coming.
Yeah,
get that leg up.
in. Exactly. Don't want that thing ran over. Yeah, Seeley probably figured, man, I got so much pressure from behind. I've got to do whatever I can to move forward. Otherwise, I might, you know, eat or be eaten in this situation. The feeding frenzy when you get in these groups.
Oh, Tomac not messing around at all, just goes right after Brayton. So every time Seeley makes a move, Tomac does it as well.
Exactly. Well, Seeley knows if he doesn't, Tomac is going to make the move on him. But even if, or as I'm going to say probably when it happens, Seeley, I would just literally try and latch on the rear fender of Eli Tomac.
Wait, is that Anderson, I believe, that just went by, who's going slow on that uphill? Pretty sure that was him.
It looked like a white bike.
Yeah, it was a Husqvarna for sure. I'm not sure if it was Anderson. We'll find out in a moment.
It is.
All right.
He's already dropping back.
Oh, and it looks like he's out. All right, well, I was puzzled. He lost a ton of ground in an instant to Dungy. Now he survived another 10 or 15, probably 10 minutes since that pass. But it looks like this moto is over. And this guy was so strong at the beginning of the year. He was 4th in points coming into this race.
I'm trying to see if there's anything visibly. I mean, the bike looks from the outside okay.
Yeah, you're right. The bike's still running.
Yeah, it looks. He doesn't. It's not covered in mud. I'm a little confused right now.
Yeah, the bike has power.
Now he just gassed.
I don't know if it has full power.
There's something in the rear shock a little bit. Looks like maybe like the rear shock is low.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's just the way it looks.
Yeah, the bikes look a lot different when they're not circulating
on them or
full speed. Okay, now the battle is between Brayton on the number 10, the BTOsports.com, WPS, KTM, and Porcel. And then you got Bogle right around them. No, Bogle could be the next on the list for Seeley, who's on a real charge here.
Yeah, and then he's got Tomac to deal with.
You do it. You got it. You can do it. Yeah.
We're 15 minutes through this moto, and in 15 minutes, you can save yourself 15% or more on your car, motorcycle insurance by going to geico.com.
Nicely done. All right, so Seeley wishes he had some of that insurance right now because he's got a little bit of a gap. on Tomac, but there is no gap insurance when Tomac is behind you because he can make up ground in bunches. So he's
like
hoping,
that.
yeah, you like that?
Gap insurance.
I let you do the promo while I worked my angles for the next segment. And here he is, working the angles on Bogle.
Nice. Up the inside. Clean, smooth, got out of the rough stuff. You see how I did that? See, he kind of squared that corner up, got out of the main line where it's rough, got the power to the ground, which also set him up for the next turn. Eli has to put the hammer down. You know, if he wants any hope of having a chance to come back and win Moto 2 and be in a position for an overall, he's got to get around. Right now, sitting in 8th. So you got Bogle in front of him, then Seeley. He has to get Barsha as well, Kennard, probably Grant, to have any hopes of an overall today. Oh, he goes the long way around. Bogle, a little mistake.
Time to put the odometer on Kawasaki. Has a lot of extra mileage to work that outside line, but he gets the pass complete. So now 7th for Tomac. How about Cole Seeley, though?
Yeah, good ride from Cole. Sometimes with Cole, you don't really know what you're going to get. Some rough tracks he does well at, but some rough tracks he doesn't. And I think I've figured it out. This is a rough track, but it's a technical rough track, like timing and hopping and line selection. And you see him staying out of the deep stuff. See, so Cole has that kind of ability. The problem is when a track is absolutely brutally rough, I feel like he struggles a little bit because he's a little too technical and precise.
But as you have to say, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Sometimes you just can't do it right. You just got to go for it.
And Tomac's that kind of guy. When you watch him ride, he's pretty comfortable being a little uncomfortable. You might see the back end swap, feet come off. That's all normal. You know, that's doesn't even phase him. See there? Just crank it in there. Maybe it's an outside foot, inside foot.
Crank it there, all the way outside the track. But you know what? I mean, he is not right there in the rear fender of Seeley. Seeley's absolutely holding his own, and now you're starting to see Barsha up ahead of them. So
yeah, they're making up time.
Yeah, this is very impressive what Seeley has done. No changes up front, by the way. Roczen leads by now 9.5 seconds over Dungey, and Josh Grant has inherited 3rd now that Anderson has dropped back. So we'll stay on this fight. Will Tomac get Seeley, or can Seeley run down Barsha, who's now not too far in the distance?
Yeah, and some of these angles you see there's Barsha. There he goes. So less than 2 seconds ahead of these guys. So let's just reset real quick. Roczen running great lap times, looking solid. 2:11 last lap. Dungey 2:11 as well. So he is, you know, matching the pace, but I think Roczen just toned it down a little bit. He's basically got a 10-second lead. Then almost another 20 seconds from Dungey to Josh Graham. So he's 30 seconds off Roczen. And then Kennard's right there, and then Barsha a few seconds back. So for Tomac, he might have a tough time getting to that Grant-Kennard battle for 3rd. But you would think he's got to at least get 5th in this moto.
But Seeley's not going to make it easy on him, man. Again, they are practically matching each other. Let's see the last time around. Yes, 2:13.7s for both. Right down to the 10th of a second. Same time for Seeley. And Seeley said in a couple of the post-race statements from the team that he really wants to figure this outdoor thing out. He's always been a little bit stronger at Supercross. And he said he's honestly willing to overtrain during the week, be tired of the motos, almost sacrifice the results right now to get better later on. Just keep hammering. And I know he's got Jeff Ward in his corner, one of the all-time legends of the sport. And Ward takes no excuses. He's about as gnarly as it gets. So I'm sure he's pushing Cole hard. And it is paying off. I mean, he has held Tomac back there for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jeff Ward, legend of our sport, great guy. But, you know, same thing, you know, with Seeley sometimes. It's just, you got to just say to him, hey, we've got to learn how to hang it out. Now another battle for 3rd. We said it, Kennard was lurking right behind Josh Grant, who's riding a great race. You said it, Jason. Josh Grant, a fill-in ride this year. Has come in, been consistent, got great results, sits 5th in points, but now he's starting to show us, hey, I'm here for podiums, I'm here to make Kawasaki proud, and actually show them, hey, you should have hired me possibly in the beginning.
Yeah, he's actually filling in for the injured Will Hahn right now, so get well soon to Wilbur. But if Grant wants that podium, he's going to have to fight for it because Trey Kennard is right there.
Yeah, Kennard, he's not going to roll over. He's going to fight for this. Just under 10 minutes. Got a feeling at this late stage, Kennard's probably going to find a way around, but nice to see Josh really fighting for this. Be his first podium in, I don't know exactly how long, but quite some time. Oh, look at him square that up. That was a nice little line.
Oh, and then Kennard leaping big time using those outside lines. Let's see what they do down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, that inside, they kind of seem to all funnel to that inside now. It's basically a hardened up, nice inside rut, so it's consistent, and it's also the shortest way around.
Yeah, Kennard not able to use different lines through this section. Just got to follow him. Now we head into that end zone. And we mentioned earlier with the Lit Pro, they're going 57 miles an hour through these ruts. And down through this corner. Kennard's going to try to go from outside to inside.
He's got it.
Grant square and go across all those ruts. Try to get him back.
Oh, beautiful racing from these two.
Nicely done by Josh Grant. Oh, Kennard with a handful of throttle. Ooh, drag race down the hill, into the lappers, into the ruts, the bumps, and Kennard finally makes the pass stick, but nice fight back from Grant.
Yeah, he didn't roll over at all. He did not want to relinquish that position. Fought for it, but we said it before, Kennard just seems to have a little more pace later in this moto. JG running some good lines, taking the outsides, you know, the smoother line. The smoother line doesn't always work, but what's working is the number 94 this season.
He's on the smooth line, no doubt about that. I mean, it doesn't even look like he's pushing right now, and his lead is 9.5 seconds. Dungey's matching him now. They're both running 2:12s, but you got to figure that Roczen knows exactly where he is.
He's controlling the race. He's controlling the race right now.
So Ken Roczen out for vengeance this year. Last season, not what he wanted when he was the defending champ, and ended up second in the series to Dungey. But he looks like a totally different rider in 2016. And how long can he keep this going? Because so far, this looks like the exact same performance that we got out of him at Hangtown and Glen Helen. We're back. You see the yellow machine, that's Soaring Eagle, Jimmy John Suzuki. Ken Roczen is your leader. And we've got an update with Georgia Lindsay on one of the riders who is now out of this race.
Yes, an unfortunate break for the 21 of Jason Anderson. He's actually inside the semi right now, putting his clothes back on. He said the altitude here gets him sick every single week. Every time he comes here, he said it's kind of too much on his chest. So he's going to actually fly straight home right now and recover, and then see how he is for next weekend at High Point.
Wow. Now, that is true. I have heard that the altitude sickness has gotten Anderson in the past. Oh, filthy Phil. Nicoletti with a good start, then a crash, and now has gone down for a second time. And the folks in the Asterisk Mobile Medic team checking on him. Phil's a good guy, definitely tries hard. You hate to see him take the lumps like that. We go back to Ken Roczen. Speaking of taking lumps, Roczen had the first moto just like this last week in his grip, and then it went away when he had problems with front suspension. You talked to the team about that.
Yeah, basically they said, hey, it was nothing to do with the actual suspension. They tap into the top of the cap, which means the top of the fork, which is right underneath the handlebar. So what they have to do is when they tap in, what they tap in for is to have a mount with a sensor adapted. Reason being, they're trying to get data from the machine, because these bikes are using what they call air forks now instead of the traditional old school spring forks. And with that, they're trying to learn what the bike does. Does it change during the race? Does the air pressure change in there? Does it lose? Does it gain? So they were using it for information. Look at the gap Roczen has.
Yeah.
There's Dungey coming up over the triple step up right now. So a good size lead. But what happened was with this little sensor, they have to make an elbow coming out. In other words, it came out of the top, left, and then right around it. And that mount broke, and what happened was it released the cap at the top, which let the air out. Spoke with the team. They said, we are not running that this week. Everything should be good. It's not a factory, problem. It's something we put on. So I said, so you got all the data you need. You figured out all you need is air in the forks, right?
Yes. Yeah, you didn't need a gauge to know they had problems last week. So they say the problem won't happen again. See Dungey in second. Now, we saw Anderson have the problem with the altitude. Let's go back to Georgia with a very scientific, I think, analysis of what it's like to ride up here at elevation. Georgia.
Yes, obviously it affects the human body, but it also affects the dirt bikes. Now, you lose about 15 to 20% of the power due to the elevation and the air density. So a lot of these guys, they add the rear sprocket, they add a couple of teeth to give it more power just off the start. Now, normally at sea level, we're about 96 to 100% of density, and here it's about 85. Actually, yesterday it was 78. And all the guys actually have these little monitors which they can check the air density to see what they need to do to change the mapping on the bike and things like that. It is very confusing, but hey, they're mechanics. That's why they know this stuff.
And they got computers too, so it makes them a lot smarter than us. Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series coming your way. Defending Pro 2 champ Rob McCachran opened the Pro 4 championship with a win, but his old friend Carl Renazetter was not far behind. They'll probably hook it up again. Watch tomorrow at 2 Eastern and Pacific. That's the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series right here on MAV TV. Yeah, the altitude used to be a huge deal when you guys first came here and the bikes had carburetors. Now they have fuel injection. And I talked to Mitch Payton, who runs a very successful 250 team with Pro Circuit, and he said, yeah, we used to have to test and test. Now we just take the map for the ignition and the fuel system that we had last year, plug that into the bike, and we're good to go.
Well, 10 years ago, they had far more issues with the motorcycles than the riders. Now they've figured out the motorcycles, but unfortunately, riders still have issues because everyone reacts differently at altitude. I've had altitude sickness before. Very tough to deal with.
Yeah, well, Anderson now out for the day. He was 4th in points and 3rd in the race coming in. Got a battle here. We're going to watch Brock Tickle on a Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki. He was running strong earlier, but then had a fall, and we've got him in 17th right now. I think he's got Noah McConaughey, a privateer, right behind him. And it's pretty spread out here throughout this moto, with Roxon leading, Dungey Knard 3rd, Grant 4th, Seeley 5th. Seeley still holding on against Tomac, who is 6th. Bogle 7th. Barsha has been pushed back to 8th. He's not going to be happy about that. He was 5th at one point. Porcel 9th, Brayton 10th. Bisceglia on that new ride with Suzuki is 11th. Noren 12th, Bloss 13th, LeMay Short 15th, and then it's this man Tickle coming through next. Kind of an up and down start to the season for Tickle, which is different than we normally see from him. Normally so consistent. Andrew Short.
Yeah, local boy from Colorado. In his basically final season of professional racing, Andrew, one of the nicest guys from the sport. I had the luxury of racing and battling with this guy for many a year. And as far as motocross goes, he's old because he's about the same age as me. And he said he's making the most of it. He's enjoying it. He's going to come here and try and do the best he can, of course. He loves his place. He loves his track.
I don't think he loved that one corner.
No, that corner right there didn't suit him. But he had a great opportunity with the Motocross of Nations in, was it 2010?
Yes.
Tickle looks like he might get Andrew. Tickle's on a bit of a mission.
These two, last couple of years, they just, you know, certain guys seem to find each other. Been a lot of bumps and bangs between these two because they kind of find each other in this exact spot. That happens all the time in motocross. You certainly have a nice list of guys that you could always run into.
Yeah, exactly. Usually these guys are a little higher up in the pack than they are right now. So not the best of day. I mean, Andrew Short, he's been phenomenal at this track in the past as a history. And like you said, with Brock Tickle's crash a little further back.
Shout out to McConaughey here, looking good on the number 96, and he's going to give Short a run right down to the end.
In points paying position.
Backed by George G. Auto Company. There you go. Good job, George. You guys getting you some TV time as he puts the heat on Short. Now, Short is bouncing back from some serious injuries. Hurt his shoulder and missed the first few Supercross races, and then when he came back, same crash that took out Will Hahn. Actually, Short ended up with a concussion and missed more time, so he's still working his way back. Speaking of back, Eli Tomac has been in comeback mode since the beginning of this race, which he started outside the top 20. He's passed a lot of people, but he has not been able to pass Cole Seeley.
Yeah, Seeley's riding a great race, great pace, everything. A little bit surprised Tomac hasn't gotten by. That's just, you know, no disrespect to Cole Seeley. It's just Tomac, we expect him, especially in Colorado, to have just caught him, passed him, and checked out. So a little bit of, I think, combination of Seeley riding great and Tomac not riding so great, but he might be able to make this happen.
Oh, one mistake is all Tomac needed to get there. And will he make it happen?
Chops the door.
Yes.
Yep, chops the nose off Seeley. Closes that door, as we call it. So puts himself now into a top 5 position. And Josh Graham, is he catchable at this point? I don't know. He's got about 10 seconds on this battle between these two. And with just a mere,
they're
2 laps to go,
not
going to happen.
Yeah, they're about maybe a second quicker than Grant, but they're not making up ground in chunks. So Seeley pushed back to 6th, but still a good moto for him. And obviously a good for for Tomac considering where he started, but he's not going to be happy until he's up there battling with Roczen and Dungey.
Well, he can't be happy. He's better than where he's at right now. So it's really frustrating as a top rider. But at the end of the day, you've got to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So, Eli, I know you're in good shape and you're fast and you're working on things. Figure out your starts as well, because, you know, it's a lot easier getting the whole shot than being mediocre pace. You fade back to 6 or 7. You get the fastest guy on the track and you're outside the top 20, guess what? You're going to end in the same spot, 6 or 7.
Yeah, last week he rode really well in second moto, but I was looking at the lap times. He was 7 and 8 seconds a lap slower in those opening laps when he was all stuck in traffic. And yeah, exactly. Once he got by himself 4th, 5th place, he was running similar lap times to Roczen, but
if it makes any sense to the people at home, you can lose 30 seconds in the first 3 laps with being buried in the pack. Even if you're a second a lap quicker than anyone, you can never catch that up. The damage is done.
You would need 30 laps, which would take an hour to make up that ground.
Hey, Tomac would maybe argue with an hour moto.
Yeah.
I think he'd be cool with it.
Good point. We'll just combine.
A little refueling there.
Yeah, we'll do a 60-minute and 4-lap moto. Okay, no challengers whatsoever and no issues for Ken Roczen, who is headed toward the white flag. What might have been last week, we could be talking about 5 moto wins out of 5. Not quite. But honestly, the big thing is that there is no progress for anyone else. I mean, the same level of domination and gap that he had at the first 2 rounds, he clearly still has today.
I mean, even when you look at the gap, you go, okay, he's got a 7-second lead over Dungey. Yeah, well, Kennard is 42 seconds behind him in 3rd place, so it's massive gaps.
Yeah, and you mentioned that managing the lead. He seems to get it to about 7 to 9 seconds over Dungey, and then he just stays there.
It's called the comfort zone. You don't want to be in the end zone, you want to be in the comfort zone.
No. So Kenny could probably push a little harder if he needed to, but he certainly doesn't have to. So this just continues, and we'll see if these guys can make any ground on him whatsoever, because the points lead is not going to be big because Dungey keeps getting second and then inherited that win last week. But Dungey's team knows they need to be closer than this in the races. Maybe the points don't show it. Maybe the 7-second gap doesn't show it. But Roczen had 3.5 seconds on these guys in a lap and a half at the beginning of that race. That really shows you how fast he's capable of going.
He's just putting the hammer down early, breaking everyone's spirit, and then controlling it from the front. And, you know, you got to admire that, because you think, hey, I'd love to do that. Well, guess what? We don't all have that talent and that natural ability and that speed. So when this kid is feeling it and he puts everything together, I mean, he is just looking. I feel like we're talking about Eli Tomac.
It's so similar. It is.
Now we fast forward a year. Now we're going, oh man. Okay, we haven't used the word decimate the field, but he's dominated the field.
Well, he's not doing it with those huge gaps, but it takes us back to that managing the lead, whereas Tomac just kept laying heaters down every single lap of those motos. But there hasn't been a challenge for Roczen, there's no doubt about it. It hasn't at any point been a desperate having to make late passes or anything. He's been in control of every one of these motos so far this year. And he's got another one. Going to be moto win number 4 out of 5 this year. Ken Roczen takes Moto 1 here at Thunder Valley. So the German keeps on rolling, and everyone else keeps on scratching their heads trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this guy?
It's like we're getting beaten, but it's by a different guy this year. And you see the little telemetry box on top of Roczen's helmet.
That's a lip pro.
Yeah, it helps us get some information. Some of it we love to get, but it's a little more confidential. And
yeah, that thing can do a lot, but I understand the teams obviously want to keep some of that information private.
They have to. There's Oscar, his mechanic.
Easy debrief. I got a whole shot. I pulled away, and I won. It's pretty simple how Roczen's doing it right now.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save on motorcycle insurance. And by Fram. Garage Wisdom lives here.
Back here at Thunder Valley, let's send it down to the podium with Georgia Lindsay.
What an unbelievable first 450 moto. Ken Roczen, you absolutely blew that. That was amazing, in a great way, I mean. But that was a fantastic ride from you. That was redemption from last weekend, I'm sure. but 10-second lead. What do you think that you're doing that other people aren't?
I don't know. First off, the soaring of Jimmy John Suzuki hooked me up for a great start. I mean, as soon as I shifted, I just took off and grabbed the whole shot and just put in some strong laps in the beginning, and then just kept it steady. You know, the track is tricky. You know, it's getting really hard, and it's bumpy and ruddy, so it's really easy to do a mistake and tip over. But we're gonna keep our focus and prepare now for the second moto, and I want to do the same thing again. Everybody's riding good, but I just want to win and put my heart into it to get it done.
Well, you've already done that in the first moto, but you know, last weekend you had that issue with your front fork. How was that after that weekend going into this weekend? Is it something you just like brushed off your shoulders?
No, it's all good. You know, we're just trying to make everything better. You know, we're all just keep working, and it is what it is. I'm not going to let that take me down. So had a strong week of training and come back, and you know, we're doing everything right at the moment. Never know what's going to happen, but we're pushing.
All right, best of luck in the second moto. Ken Roczen, our 450 Moto 1 winner.
All right, thanks, Georgia. We'll show you how he did it with our Lucas Oil race recap. There is a 94. Just edges out Jason Anderson to get the lead early, and that was all she wrote from there.
Yeah, Roczen so strong in these opening laps, just yarded the rest of the pack. He was gone, but then the battle behind. You see Anderson comes up a little short on that step down. Dungey charges up the inside, puts himself in second, but unfortunately wouldn't have enough to go after the leader. But for Anderson, it would get worse. Muskin also in the pits. Problem for the contenders. He went down, explaining what happened.
And altitude sickness got to Anderson, by the way, who was in third after Dungey made the pass on him, and he is done for the day. And this one's done. Moto win for Ken Roczen, but he'll need to come back and do it again in Moto 2, which you'll catch in the next hour on NBCSN. So you want to stay with us all weekend long. Here are the results from this moto. Kennard edges out Josh Grant for third. Tomac from way back ends up fifth, though. That's still not what he wanted. And Matt Bisceglie in the top 10 on the Yoshimura Suzuki. Perfect, what you want from a fill-in guy.
Yeah, good job for them. Look at that, top 20. Barsha not happy.
No.
A few other guys there not going to be happy with those results. Let's throw it back down to Georgia.
Yes, Ryan Dungey, second place in the first moto here at Lakewood, Colorado. Now, there was a 10-second lead. What do you think that you can do to make up that time? Obviously, you were following Ken Roczen the entire race, but what do you think and where do you think you can make up that time?
Well, being there right off the start, you know, Anderson was riding good. You know, I was just trying to make the pass get around him, and Ken started getting away from us a little bit. I was like, I can't let this happen, you know, obviously. But so get off to a little better start, be right there from the get-go, and then you know, as the track unfolded, I was able to find some good lines, so we hopefully can bring that into this next moto. But a good line choice and then good intensity and being up front. So Ken's riding good, but we'll try to give it a good hard push and make it a good battle.
Congratulations. Second place, Ryan Dungey.
All right, so Dunge has been second in the majority of the motos this year, but did squeak out that moto win last week. We'll see if he can get it in the second moto this week. Second moto is coming up on NBCSN in the next hour, so as soon as this show ends, flip over to that, see the conclusion of our race day. That'll be Moto 2, the 250s, and then Moto 2 of the 450s here from Thunder Valley in Colorado. Let's go back to Georgia.
Mr. Trey Kennard, the number 41, it is great to see you up here on the podium, second in qualifying. This track, was it just clicking with you? Have you made a lot of changes on the bike? What's going on with Trey Kennard?
We made some good changes this week, and it definitely helped out here. So hopefully we can keep it going. You know, we're still a ways behind these guys, and you know, overall, I'm just happy to be up here. I mean, it's been a long year, so happy to be up here. Hope to build on this momentum and carry it into Moto 2.
Now, the track is obviously going to develop. It's going to change. You're probably going to watch some of the 250 Moto to see what's going to change. How do you think it's going to turn out for the second 450 Moto?
It's getting dry. You know, it's tough because the ruts are getting really crusty, and you just got to be, you know, focused the whole time. It'll bite you if you're not. So it's going to get dry, so we got to make sure the suspension's working for that and come out Moto 2, see what we can do.
Great to see you up here. Trey Kennard, third place in that first Moto.
Believe it or not, first time Kennard has stood on a podium this year, indoors or out. Kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, that is.
High Point will be our next race. We have next weekend off. Riders will certainly be glad to get that. Kind of hit the reset button, and then it's a big stretch. High Point in Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Redbud, and Southwick, the famous sand track in Massachusetts, making its return in the schedule for the first time since 2013. Going to be great to be there. And a traditional run ends with the Ironman National outside of Indianapolis. That'll be our championship decider on August the 27th. All right, Grant, in the 250s, great run for Joey Savacci. Didn't get the Moto win, so he's going to be fired up for Moto 2.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the good thing for him is after last week, you know, I was kind of in a guessing game. I was like, round 1 was great. Round 2 was, for someone like him, very below par. Especially at a track he knows, he's trained at. They test at Pro Circuit, spend a lot of time out there. In fact, they have a test track up on the hillside that they use. So that was a bit of a shock. And then all of a sudden today, it's like, well, you know, were we panicking? Is he back? Was it an off day? Not quite sure, but looks good today. Let's see what happens in the second moto.
Yeah, and we'll have that coming up in just a few minutes. So switch over to NBC SN when it's over. And, of course, as far as the 450 class is concerned, there are no changes. Ken Roczen keeps on rolling.
Yeah, Roczen gets a start, gets out front, pulls a gap, and maintains the gap the rest of the moto. Tomac has got the pace up here, but the problem is you can't be starting in 23rd position. That is horrific. Outside of the top 20, you've got to be in the top 10 at least, hopefully top 5, but you know, with this kind of competition, you just never know. But you got to put your money in Roczen. He's just looked good all season long so far. But as long as he doesn't take himself out of this, we've seen that happen before.
Yeah, we've seen it happen right here at this track.
Yeah, exactly.
So that means you folks got to make sure you flip the dial, go to NBCSN, where we'll have our second motos live coming up in just a few minutes. The 250 class, followed by the 450s. Jeremy Martin wins the first 250 moto. Ken Roczen wins the first 450 moto. We'll see if they can complete it later this afternoon. For Georgia Lindsay and Grant Langston, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on NBCSN right now.